one's for the birds, this one's for the city. This one for the fans that bleed green with me. Push down the 95 to the right is the link. With the team pulling up, knowing that they getting beat. Exit Broad Street, right on Patterson. Xfinity Live, CPP, what's happening? Dub F Lie, stop by F1. Fly Eagles fly, you hear the song getting sung? What team in the league is number one? Bird gang, yeah, I said it twice. You heard me say it once, now you sure you heard it right. No lies being told, yeah, it's all facts. It ain't me, Green or Kelly, we don't rock with that. Any given Sunday, we don't ever slack. Yeah, we got an SB, time to run it back. And even on the road, yeah, we taking over. All you see is green like you at the Nova. Care less about your squad, bro, it's only us. A cheesesteak tailgate, yeah, we good, bruh. Beer pong baptism, you already know. Con shot, tomato pie, bring 3 or 4. After every bird game, you know where to be. 4th of Jawn, NBC, in the heart of Philly. About the birds, all about the birds. E-Rock, Gale, son is Hollywood heard. Look up.
Here we go. Broadcasting live from NBC Sports Studios in the heart of the Wells Fargo Center. Welcome to 4th and Jawn, episode number 98. Boys and girls, you heard it. That was the 2019 Piccolo 4th and Jawn intro. Amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out his album, his brand new album, The Cookout, available on iTunes and all streaming platforms. Make sure you get that original album, Bacon, Egg, and Grits, as well. We can't thank him enough for that intro. He always brings the fire. Every year he does an intro for us.
Every year.
And every year I think to myself, how is he going to outdo himself this time?
And he does it.
How is Piccolo going to outdo himself this time? And once again, he did it. Never can doubt the man. I am fired up, especially after that intro. And I'm fired up that football season officially is just around the corner. Mm-hmm. 1 preseason game down, 3 more to go. But as I get excited here, as I get amped up, as I get feeling it, I can't help but after the first preseason game, look, guys, I don't want to play a little Debbie Downer.
You're gonna be like that guy.
I don't want to bring it down at the start of the show right away. But it all started with Nate Sudfeld's injury. Mm-hmm. And listen, it's a backup quarterback, and Doug Peterson confirmed that he is going to be out 6 weeks. Not a big deal. Carson Wentz ain't dead. He's still around. He's still our starting quarterback. And as long as you have him healthy and playing, Nate's going to come back. By week 3, everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. No need to worry, Eagles fans. Calm your nerves. But then all of a sudden, I start looking up and down the injury report here. And all of a sudden, I start getting a little antsy, a little uneasy.
Little Negadelphian?
Not Negladelphian, but look, those of you, Gale, right, you remember
there's
this there's the Gale face. He's already giving me the Gale face. I knew this was going to happen, this intro. He's giving me the Gale face already. Gale, you remember, this time last year, we were sitting in studio, and I was pounding the table that there's nothing above the repeat. You remember that, right?
I do.
And you remember me pounding the table saying this team just won a Super Bowl, and somehow they got better. I don't understand how they're going to be stopped this year. And what happened?
They got
right out of the chute, it was a whole lot of ruh-roh. And why was it ruh-roh? It was because the injury bug, the size of Mothra, was chewing on this team. And as I take a look at the injury report and the roster right now, guys, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it's getting me a little nervous. I mean, let's go down it. Ronald Darby just had 7-on-7s as of Monday. Dallas Goedert, he's week to week with a calf injury. Lane Johnson, when did this happen? Week to week with a knee injury. Derek Barnett finally got on 11-on-11s as of Sunday. Fletcher Cox has not practiced all summer. And there's really no timetable for his return. We're talking about the best player on defense. I said that out loud to myself. Fletcher Cox has not practiced all summer. And I was like, yeah. Wait, what? Our best player on defense hasn't practiced. Nigel Bradham, as of Saturday, he said he didn't know when he would practice or play because he's coming off of that foot injury. Brandon Brooks, not taking part in any team drills. No timetable. Jalen Mills, still not back from that foot injury. He suffered last October. He's likely a PUP candidate. Camus is out for at least a month. Nate Sudfeld. Cravon LeBlanc out until November. He's Wyclef Jean in it. He'll be gone until November. Richard Rodgers. We talked about those two
Yeah.
tight end sets and the need for a reliable backup tight end behind Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. He's day to day. He's not practicing as well. So as I take a look at this roster, Gail, I want you to do me a favor, because Piccolo helped bring the podcast up in the beginning, and I need you to do what you have so often done, because it's a part-time job, talking me off a ledge. Gail, please, talk me off the ledge.
It's still early in the game. A couple of podcasts ago, I said a little sneaky concerned about Fletcher Cox. I want to see him healthy. Obviously, they're going to wait. I seen him out there stretching. I seen him moving. Looked all right.
Okay.
But it's still early. Like if it's like the week one and these guys are all injured, I might be a little concerned. But I do think with Sudfeld going down, it gives you a question marks about who's going to be our backup quarterback. This was a perfect opportunity for Sudfeld to really show his wings. He was able to showcase what he could do. Obviously, he's not going to be playing for a little bit, but I think when you look at Cody Kessler, you get a little nervous. Like, is that the guy? But then when you start to think about Carson Wentz is the guy that we're really worried about. As long as Carson Wentz is healthy, he'll right the ship. But these other injuries, Brandon Brooks is actually might be playing back in practice pretty soon.
Okay.
So feel good about yourself.
All right. I feel a little bit better about that. But look, some of these injuries, when we talk about them, we have timetables associated. Cravon, we kind of know when he'll be back, sometime beginning of November.
Yeah.
Camus going to miss the first month. Okay, we know when he'll be back. Who else?
I mean, Lane Johnson could have played if he had to right now.
Yeah, but listen, man, like I need Doug to go up after one of these training camps and say, look, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. We're resting the guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear day to day. I don't want to hear week to week.
I mean, Goddard.
We're up against the start of the season here, and it's got me a little bit nervous.
I mean, last year Goddard had the hamstring. Before you saw him bust out, during the season, but he had a hamstring injury before the season started. Miles Sanders was dealing with a hamstring. So if a guy has a soft tissue injury, we're going to wait a couple weeks if we have to, because we don't have to rush him out for preseason. I mean, technically, training camp is pretty much over. So we now have a season right down the way, but we shouldn't be concerned about Dallas Goedert or Lane Johnson.
Okay.
I mean, Barnett got on the field.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, well, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, talking E-Rock off a ledge, I'll score Gale at a 6.
Okay.
He really didn't do it for me. He didn't make me feel better about the entire situation. So Hollywood Hearn, I'm going to pass it off to you, and I'm going to give you your opportunity to talk me off the ledge.
I think you might have come to the wrong guy on this one, eh?
No.
Because here's the thing. I was all pumped about the season. Piccolo's new intro had me all jazzed up. I'm ready to go for this show, guys. And then you start listing off all the players. And we do have some second string guys on that list, but a lot of these guys are the core of our team.
Yep.
The Fletcher Coxes, the Darbys, Nigel Bradham. And as we enter into the season and we're unsure about their health, now you've got me right behind you running towards the ledge, ready to go full cannonball. I'm not going to do that. It's still very early in the preseason. We've still got plenty of time to heal up. But after we saw Nate Sudfeld go down, can we talk about Clayton Thorson for a minute? Because that was pretty rough, man. I walked away from that game pretty aggravated that we even spent a draft pick on that guy. And granted, it was his first game in the NFL. First time in the league, maybe he's got a little bit of rust because he's nervous. I was completely unimpressed with what he had to show.
But think about what you did in Clayton Thorson. Think about what you did. Look what you did. Look what you did. You spent the 5th round pick on a quarterback who, at best, was going to be 3rd on the depth chart.
Exactly.
Now, spending a 5th round pick on a quarterback like that, you don't want to stash him on the practice squad. Heaven forbid he's a little bit more developmental than you thought he was going to be. You can't stash him on the practice squad because then he'll get plucked. How the hell do you think we got Nate Sudfeld? Redskins practice squad, thank you very much. We got ourselves a backup quarterback.
And when we drafted him, we had no idea that Nate Sudfeld would end up getting injured. So it really, the timetable of it makes no sense as to why we got him in the first place.
And the 5th round pick, look, I can understand you took a page out of the Andy Reid playbook. I get it. You want to develop a quarterback? Why you got a quarterback? Okay, A.J. Feely, Mike Kafka. All right, I can see where you're going with it. But Jeffrey Lurie, at the owners' meetings, had a quote. And we even had it downloaded, but I never got the opportunity to play it because there was never an appropriate time. So I'll paraphrase. He said, "We are not cocky enough to think that we are going to nail every draft pick. That's why we want quantity. We want a lot of picks so it increases our chances on hitting on these guys." So then, in turn, you go and trade up for Dillard, who, by the way, we'll get to him in the boxing gloves on. We'll get to Dillard. But now all of a sudden you're a little light on picks. And with a fifth rounder, you decide to draft a quarterback who, again, at best, was going to be third on your depth chart. You can't stash him on the practice squad. Lo and behold, he stinks. The guy stinks. Gail, you are the draft guy. Tell me what you thought about Clayton Thorson coming out of college and explain to me what the Philadelphia Eagles were thinking picking him with the fifth.
Well, I mean, he had the mobility. He did tear his ACL the season before. So, he had the arm, but the accuracy was an issue. I was looking at the chart where he missed in college. He missed all the seams. I mean, he can hit some of those out routes, but the seams he was missing. But the thing is, when he was drafted, I was like, I didn't have that good feeling in my gut. I was just like, why? I mean, I understood the whole thing to develop a quarterback. I think that's exactly where they have to start thinking, because Nate Sudfeld could be going too, down the road. But I think he was not the guy that I would have drafted. And there was players on the board too.
On a scale of 1 to 10, talking E-Rock off the ledge, that was like a 2. that was a blip on the ring.
The positives, honestly.
So what were you going to say, bud?
So I'm just saying that you were talking about how we wanted to get as many quantitative picks as possible, as opposed to quality. Just hoping that
you want quality, but you want quality. Need the quantity, find the quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what my problem is with that is that we could have added more quantity to another position if need. So we could have used a linebacker.
But
we could. You know what I mean? That fifth-round pick could have been used in other positions.
Could have been a safety.
Exactly.
Because then you see all these safeties that they brought in. But the first three picks were pretty hot.
It could have gone to a guy that could have actually been fighting for a spot on the team.
Yeah,
where Clayton Thorson was going to be fighting to make the practice squad.
Yeah, and then Sharif Miller, you used the fourth-round pick on him. There were some players on there on the board that you were like, okay. All right. I mean, it's still experimental, and you see what they're doing at the back end of the roster right now. Like Sharif Miller doesn't have a lock. He'll still be on the roster, but talking about playing time, they're bringing all these guys in to challenge the back end of the roster right now. Like, we don't know who is going to be that fourth and fifth defensive end right now. So I'm thinking you could have used that pick somewhere else.
And now that the first preseason game is over, and I'm not getting the warm and fuzzies looking up and down the injury report, I'm also not getting the warm and fuzzies about the playing time, right? Because traditionally, this is the way it's been for as long as I can remember. And granted, change is inevitable, and the Eagles are certainly bucking the trend. In the first preseason game, the starters play a series. In the second preseason game, the starters play a quarter. In the third preseason game, they play a half, and the fourth preseason, they don't even see the field. You're just trying to figure out who's going to be on the back end of the roster. And now that you see Nate Sudfeld come down, and you see guys like Lane Johnson and Dallas all of a sudden, starting to develop some injuries, when it comes to Carson Wentz, I'm torn. I'm torn on what I want to see.
Because
on one hand, I don't want to see him out there. Because heaven forbid something happens to Carson Wentz that happened to Sudfeld.
That's the Clayton Thorson show.
Yeah, then it's oh my God! Don't say. Listen, we'll get into potential backup quarterbacks because there is going to be no Clayton Thorson show whatsoever.
I think it's important that we see Cody Kessler though. A lot of Cody Kessler. If we're looking at him as a potential 3 or a guy to push Nate Sudfeld, give him all the reps.
But here's the point I'm trying to make. On one hand, I don't want to see Carson Wentz out there because I'm worried. I mean, this is the guy, Gail, you and I have stayed up at night staring at the ceiling, worrying about the health of Carson Wentz. But at the same time, I can't help but remember and look back at that 2017 season when Nick Foles took over. And he was a little rusty. He played okay, but he was a little rusty those last 3 games. And what did Doug say? What did Nick say? Oh, those last 3 games were, in essence, my preseason. Because if you remember, he had some sort of elbow or shoulder injury, and he didn't play in the preseason. So that's what he needed to shake off the rust. Listen, if we're Super Bowl or bust this year, I can't have Carson Wentz waiting to shake off the rust for 3 games. I just can't do it.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think they're doing in practice? I think.
But it's different.
It's not game speed.
It's different. It's different.
Nah.
He's not getting
It's
tackled to the
different.
ground in
Well, he's not getting tackled, but he's getting good quality reps.
but he knows that he's not going to get tackled. That's in the back of his mind as well.
I'm not worried.
No, he can extend that play an extra half second to a second.
I'm
because
not
he knows
worried
not
about
going
Carson
down.
Wentz. Right now.
So if you didn't see Carson Wentz on the field whatsoever at any single
good.
point during the preseason, these 4 games, you're good.
I'm good. They're having a joint practice with the Ravens next week, so that'll be a great opportunity to throw against a different team and throw to your weapons.
But this is the part that makes me uneasy, because in one sense I'm arguing with Gail, and on the other sense I'm agreeing
Somewhat
with Gail.
agreeing with him, yeah.
Because
I'm somewhat agreeing with you.
I really think at first I was like, I just want to see one rep out of the first team offense, just to see him get going.
But then 1 rep. 1 series.
Well, I mean, 1 series.
1 rep. Because then in my mind, I'm like, you got to shake off the rust, dude. You got to put him out there. You got to. And then what's that going to accomplish?
Yeah, but you
They're
can't-
just going to have him handing off the ball a bunch of times, a couple high percentage throws, and okay, so what? He gets hit once, he gets up, everyone claps. You get that one. Sometimes just like that one defensive tackle from the Jacksonville Jaguars, you got to smack him on the face just to wake him up, and that wakes up. Is that really what I'm expecting to
But
see?
it's football. Like when you play football, like you get that one hit, like Carson Wentz talked about getting that one hit. It's like, yeah, I get that one hit, and then it's back to football. Like you get that first hit, and you're like, oh, a shock to your body, and then you're out there and doing it.
I feel like that's something people just say though. 'cause
It's not.
Look at boxers, man.
It's not,
they
bro.
get
It's
trained.
not.
They get
It's
punched
not.
1,000 times a day just to prepare for a fight when they go to war for 1 day. So they need to build up that callus on their
Yeah,
body.
but
They
you
need,
do
they
that in
need
practice,
to
though.
put up that toughness.
Listen, if Carson Wentz is going to be the future of this franchise for another decade, they just signed him to that long-year deal. They both have to protect him, but they can't
Baby him.
baby him.
Yeah.
They can't put him in bubble wrap out there in the preseason. I don't know what to do. I'm torn.
I would give
him.
him in the 3rd week, I would give him that first series. You know, if I'm gonna give him something,
Would you be satisfied with that?
I'm giving him that.
So you're saying the entire preseason, Carson gets 1 series and it's in week
yeah,
3?
yeah,
No, I'm not okay with that. He needs at least a quarter, I think. At least a quarter.
2 series tops.
Especially with
For what? I mean, what's the reason for it?
And if he's not playing in the other
Build
game, if
chemistry.
he's not playing in
Build
the other
some sort of
games, I really
chemistry.
want him there for a full
But
half.
don't you think the chemistry is being
Keep
built?
him out.
in
It's
practice?
being built. It's being built, but it's different when you're going up against somebody else. It's
Yeah.
different when it's live action. It's different when that guy, that defensive end, you don't even know his name, but he's trying to earn himself a roster spot. He's coming after your neck.
And so you're going to put Carson Wentz out there when you don't have Lane Johnson
You see,
protecting
he's right.
him.
I don't know what to do.
I'm not putting Mailata out there to protect Carson Wentz just for a couple series, just so I can feel better. It's all about the season. We could talk about preseason right now because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to a Super Bowl run.
Can we ask to put the
We're
red
in the
jersey on
preseason.
him during the game?
I don't know what to do.
I mean, like after seeing Sudfeld go down, everyone was nauseous. You're like, dude, this is what happened last.
Yeah.
Nick Foles got hurt last year in preseason against the Patriots. Was it Claiborne that took him out? You know, it is what it is. Football. I mean, if you don't expect injuries, then you're not realistically looking at the game the right way. I mean, injuries do happen, but you know, the Eagles are doing their best ability to control the situation.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there also injuries that are prone to happen if you don't train enough before the season? Soft tissue type injuries?
Yeah, but Wentz is out there. He's taking a lot of reps. He's even taking more
But is he
reps.
taking the hits.
It's all right.
See,
Dillard stepped on his foot the other day. Does that
Dillard
make you?
stepped on his
does
foot.
that
I
make
mean,
you guys
that is
feel
like a
good?
mountain of a person. but-
see, Gail's right, but he's not right. He's sort of right. He's a little right. He's not all the way right,
You
but he's
must
right. Evan,
protect this house.
Evan,
Yes.
you're right. You're sort of not right, but you're right. A little bit, but not all the way. So I don't know exactly what the answer is. It's going to be very interesting to see the way Doug Peterson handles the preseason moving forward. And, of course, we're going to have a lot of reaction to the next preseason game against one Nicky Foles. Guess what? That's going to break up a lot of nostalgia. But before we look ahead, let's take a little quick peek back. Gail, in that preseason game, who kind of stood out to you there?
I mean, Andre Dillard, man, he really put in work. He was a technician out there. Like, he looked like a seasoned pro. But, like, people were like, oh, who's he going against? Look at his technique. Look how he was on the screen pass where he let the guy go inside. You showing that football IQ that Stoughton talked about. Stoutland talked about his IQ and how he would count the defensive end steps. You're seeing those kind of things. You're seeing his hand placement. I talked about last week that, what I wanted to see was his hand placement. He looked solid. At the end of the day, it was a really good performance. And the key thing for me is watching all the Texans fans go crazy looking at all the videos I was posting about Dillard, because they were so hyped in getting Dillard. They've been chirping at Eagle fans this whole week because they're so pissed off that we jumped up and got him.
Well, Texas fans, if I can offer you any sort of consolation prize, may I offer
Big V.
Vitae and possibly a first-round pick. You have something that quite possibly
off the ropes with the first-round pick
of yours that
You think we can get it done for less, Gail?
I mean, Big V and 2-2s. One this year, one next year. What say you, Gail?
Oh,
I do it.
Hell yeah, you do it.
yeah.
And like I said, that first round is going to be basically a second-round pick once you win the Super Bowl.
Oh, off the top rope comes Gail. Like, I really liked what Dillard showed in that first preseason game. But besides that, and I'll be curious to kind of get your opinion on it, because as I stated when Darren Sproles was signed, the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing you can do to a roster is sort of on the back end, fill it with veteran talent, cheap deals, prove-it deals, maybe guys that were underperforming and or coming off an injury. Jonathan Cyprien. Now, look, I don't know if he was gassed up because he was playing his old team. He did have some miscommunication, especially with Fort, that resulted in a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But the dude was flying around the ball.
He looked all right. This is his first time playing in a while. I thought, could he play that in the big dime? A possibility to play that linebacker role. It's a possibility. I think, he was out of coverage on that one play. But another guy on defense that stood out for me was Deshaun Hall. A guy, like we're talking about that back end of the defensive end position. He showed out, really causing, disruption. Josh Sweat got a little pressure. I seen him put.
They got snaps, bro.
I seen him put Taylor Lewan on skates on one of the running plays. Mm-hmm. But offensively, Jawn, can we call him Jawn now? Jawn?
I guess so. Is that what we're doing?
Arthega Whiteside.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Thegatron, maybe?
Thegatron.
Thegatron.
Yo, I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yo, he starts racking up some red zone jump balls.
Thegatron.
Oh yeah.
Showed some little, the football IQ I'm talking about, like working back to the quarterback, boxing out, getting big, boxing out the defenders. That's what his game is. He came up big on a third down catch. He just missed a post route. The ball was
pretty.
He almost pulled it in. I seen fans out there
He would
like
have had people going crazy if he pulled that one in.
One guy's like, he's got to make those. Dude, it's his first preseason game.
That's a tough catch.
That's a tough catch.
I don't care who that is. That is a tough catch.
Showed some promise there.
Hollywood, anybody kind of catch your eye?
Markham Michael was he performed well with that one touchdown. He had the one thing that I saw earlier today that really just kind of had me blew my mind a little bit. They're trying Donnell Pumphrey out at the wide receiver now. Are they? Is this just like last stop for him?
They're trying everything in their power
to find a way to fit him.
Roster spot to admit they didn't make a mistake on Donnell Pumphrey.
Because it's
a wrap.
Yo,
I hate to break it, but that guy's what 5? No offense.
5'9".
5'9".
He's new Reno Mahe, and that's an insult to Reno Mahe.
It is an insult to Reno Mahe.
Gail
flashed a little bit.
Flash? What flash? What did you see?
For
Did you see a camera go off?
For him, flashed in camp.
He caught a ball?
Caught a couple balls, but it's nothing. I just said it's a wrap. I said it's a wrap. I'm trying to root on my black Filipino brother, Donnell Pumphrey. because he's repping me right now. But it's
No,
rap.
he's not repping you very well, dude.
It's a rap.
You'd be better off out there, bum knee and all.
I had a helmet that he had signed. And I was like, should I just clean that off? Have someone else autograph
He's
it?
sitting there with his stuff.
I was like,
trying to rub the autograph off the mini helmet.
but I'm gonna still rep you, bro. Doesn't matter.
You go ahead and do that. You go ahead and rep, brother. Give me 3 like after the preseason game, just to wrap up last preseason game. Give me like 3. Okay, your stock's up. 3, your stock's down.
I'm gonna go with Dallas Goedert. Looked good. He was a mismatch out there. He was doing the damn thing versus their ones out there. They couldn't cover him. Again, Andre Dillard, phenomenal. I thought he's been showing out in practice. Now he's showing out on the field. And then I'm gonna go with Thegatron. Going back to Thegatron.
Thegatron, dude, that is a
He looked
sick nickname.
He looked seasoned, and he's a rookie out there. And then he's been carrying that over to practice as well, making a lot of good catches. He started off slow, but he's finishing like I like to see him.
And give me 3 stock down.
3 stock down.
Jordan Mailata's one for me. And you know how big of a Jordan Mailata
He was
fan
getting a
that
lot of
was.
mixed reviews as to
Yeah.
his performance
Baldwin
in
was
that game.
high on
Yeah,
his
Baldwin
performance.
was high on him, but like at least the plays, because again, when I watch a preseason game or training camp or any sort of practice, I take a very micro approach to it. I try to hone in on
Yeah.
one guy, maybe 2 guys tops, because I'd like to know a lot about a few guys than
Right.
rather a little bit about everybody.
Right.
But the times I did glance over to Mailata's side, I mean, I saw him kind of pull out for a screen pass or an outside play, and he went behind the play to block a dude who was behind the play. And the dude that he was supposed to block ended up tackling him for a loss. Like, I know we had a disagreement last podcast that I was like, he's on the bubble. He's a bubble guy. You don't think so?
But I think they kind of did him a disservice by moving him to the right side. You're talking about a guy who's never played football.
This is
You
true.
put him on left tackle, and now you're gonna have to learn right tackle. Just as soon as you were learning left tackle, now you got to learn right tackle. It's a whole different. It takes a while. But I think he still has that ability. It's just a matter of just honing his skills. And if they feel like he shows something the next couple, I want Mailata to keep playing. Get him out there, get him a ton of reps, see what he can do.
Absolutely.
But
And
another stock down a guy I have is Nate Gary. I wanted to see more from him. He
Wasn't
got washed in a couple of those run plays. A guy who he knows the defense. They talk about his smarts. They talk about his ability to feel comfortable with him out there on the field. But I think he's got to show more for me moving forward.
And Clayton Thorson, I think, is everybody's stock down.
Yeah, for sure.
It's rough. It was like painful to
He's
watch.
2 for 9 for 7 yards and 1 interception.
Oh my God. That's our 5th round pick right there. A 5th round pick on that guy. Well, now we've taken a look past, all right? We look behind us. And now we look forward to Jacksonville, which once again, we look behind us. Because it's impossible not to get all those sort of nostalgic feelings, all those, love and romantic feeling over to BDN.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be there in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform.
Wearing number 7.
Did you see where he said that I wear number 7 now?
Because he got a little bit
number
smaller.
9 belongs in Philadelphia and will always have a special place there.
How can you hate the guy, dude?
That's
How
respect.
can anybody have
Respect.
any sort of
Respect.
bad thing to say about the guy?
But then also, thanks to him, we have Cody Kessler. He
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. He kind of said, give Philadelphia a call, and that made that happen. So that's big shout out to Nick Foles.
Foles, the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you for Cody Kessler. Just kind of give me your thoughts on this preseason game upcoming. I know we touched on whether or not we would want to see Carson Wentz play. We touched last time on guys that we're going to specifically be looking for. But do you think the defensive line, Barnett, Malik, everybody just kind of, Josh Sweat just kind of holds up a little bit?
No.
And instead of sacking him, they give him the old whack on the rear end?
I think there'll be some of that going on. But
Is
I
it?
have to play.
Is he even playing though?
Is he?
Is he?
I don't know. You told me. Is he?
I'm not sure yet.
If he's following the Doug Peterson plan, he's not going to play the entire preseason.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is going to be playing.
And then once again, Nick Foles said during his Super Bowl, those last 3 games were his preseason. Again, it's about. I don't want to circle back around. I
want Cody Kessler to get reps. That's all I want.
Is there any way
No one's talking about Cody Kessler's return to Jacksonville.
that we can get Dom, that big dude that's head of security, to just somehow like grab a Nick Foles lookalike, like they grab the dude that played in Poland
John Heater? Yeah.
and like stuff him in the locker, and then kidnap Nick Foles, like just put him on road and put him on the team plane and fly him back to Philadelphia, because this whole situation's got me nervous right now.
Yeah, I do miss Nick Foles, that hokey SOB, man. I love that guy.
Speaking of getting nervous, and fan base is getting nervous, how are you feeling if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan right now? Yo, they are absolutely trashing this offseason. They have
Another arrest, if I'm not mistaken.
another arrest, another contract, another guy wanting more money, another suspension. It's all the
Robert
same.
Quinn suspended.
It's all the same in Jerry world.
Isn't it the same year in and year out, too? It feels like it's the same
is.
stories coming out of Dallas.
It is.
Yeah.
But according to Jared Jones,
I'm Jerry Jones.
I'm Jerry Jones. You don't need a Russian champion to win yourself a Super Bowl. Even though when I won a Super Bowl every single year, I had myself a Russian champion. But I just can't imagine paying top dollar, number 1 running back money to a dude in a belly shirt. I just absolutely can't do it. I can't imagine doing it.
Because I'm Jerry Jones.
Because I'm Jerry Jones.
You
I
think-
know that guy right now is somewhere down in Cabo, probably doing body shots off of some young hussy. Hopefully he doesn't pull her top down. Hopefully he doesn't punch a DJ. Hopefully he doesn't, get in a fight at an EDM concert.
At least not on camera.
He's not on camera. I don't want to see him all locked up abroad now. I'm Jerry Jones.
Ewoks in paradise.
Yo, and then Dak Prescott. I'm fishing all day, and all of a sudden I checked the...
40 mil.
I haven't checked the timeline.
What
all
are the
day.
odds?
And I'm saying $40 million.
Shooting high.
When did this come up?
Shooting for the stars,
Trying to get
man.
35. But just even the thing that he turned down 30, you're like, really, man? Like, but how factually true is what has been reported?
I think it's fact. Like there were whispers. Remember, I told all the Eagles fans to kind of holster that weapon until it happened. But there was whispers of like, yo, somebody inside Zeke Elliott's training, camp said that he's not going to camp unless he gets himself a new deal. And we're like, all right, everyone's starting to get, getting crazy about it. But I'm like, yo, wait until it comes to fruition. Now, if whispers are coming out of Dallas, I can't help but believe them.
Des Bryant tweeted out, "Pay Dak.
Don't at me.
Don't at me.
Don't at me.
Throwing.
So I saw
fire.
this $40 million thing, right? And then I'm like, all right, I got to look into this. Because I totally missed where it was saying $40 million. Dak's worth $40 million. So I look up Dak Prescott, new contract, $40 million, hit the latest news, and one of them pops up, right?
Does it have the logic behind it?
It says Dak Prescott isn't asking for too much from the Cowboys. Okay. All right. I'll bite. Okay. Goes on to say, who wrote this? I don't know. It's on MSN. Okay. In 2017, once again, the headline is Dak Prescott isn't asking for too much from the Cowboys. In August 2017, Matthew Stafford signed a 5-year deal worth $135 million, becoming the NFL's highest paid player. In the 4 years leading up to the signing of that deal, he threw for 17,496 yards, 107 touchdowns, 54 interceptions, good enough for a completion percentage of 63 and a quarterback rating of 89.9. Okay. This came shortly after Derek Carr signed a $5 million, 5-year, $125 million contract, making him the highest paid quarterback and, by extension, the highest paid player. At that point, he played 47 games and amassed 60.9 completion percentage, 11,194 yards, 81 touchdowns, 31 interceptions, and an average quarterback rating in the high 80s. Leaving some numbers out here. That was right after Andrew Luck became the highest paid quarterback after 55 career games in which he threw for 14,838 yards, 101 touchdowns, 55 interceptions for a 58.1 completion percentage, and a quarterback rating of 85. Cowboys started. Here's where it gets good. Here's where he starts to justify all these numbers. Cowboys started. Dak Prescott is up for a deal now. And in 3 years as a starter, has put up 10,876 yards, 67 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. His average quarterback rating, 96. Not to anger those who are religiously opposed to including a quarterback's win total in the same breath, but Dallas has 2 seasons of 10-plus wins and won 9-7 season in those years and 2 playoff berths. It is not all because of Prescott, but it was certainly high, blah, 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 blah. The point that I am trying to make here, he finally concludes that if you're a quarterback in the neighborhood, statistically, if you're one of those guys, you reset the market by signing a new deal. Now, if you go back and look at those numbers, I know I just spitballed a whole bunch of numbers out there. But to summarize, Matthew Stafford, 64 games. Per game, 280 yards, 1.7 touchdowns, 0.84 interceptions, and a 90 quarterback rating. Derek Carr, 238 yards, 1.7 touchdowns per game, 0.66 on the interception, a 60.9 quarterback rating. Andrew Luck, 269 yards per game, 1.8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Dak Prescott, if you were to break this down per games that he's played, now that he's asking for a new contract, 226 yards, 1.4 touchdowns per game, 0.52 interceptions. He doesn't even come close.
So he's got lower stats than all those guys.
So he's got lower stats than all those guys, yet wants to be the highest paid player in the league. Jerry, I'm all for it.
Pay him.
Yeah.
Pay the man.
man.
Pay the man. Pay the man his money.
Yeah. Pay him and don't pay Dak, and watch that happen.
I was looking at some quarterbacks for the range where he should be like shooting for. Kirk Cousins, 28 million. Jimmy Garoppolo, 27.5. Matthew Stafford, 27 million. Derek Carr, 25 million. Drew Brees, 25 million. Andrew Luck, 24.5. Alex Smith, 23.5.
He thinks he's $15 million more than Drew Brees.
I'd still be concerned at 25. But at the end of the day, it becomes like the going rate for a quarterback. But
Yeah.
I want to see him play without Zeke.
Oh, they've already had that. In the 6 games that Zeke was
For a
suspended,
season.
they have a small sample size. They went 500.
Yeah.
They went 500, got completely outscored by a lot.
Yep.
So they have their sample size without Zeke. I keep saying this, and it's coming to fruition. They can't sign all of them. They can't sign Dak and Zeke and Cooper and Jalen. And who's the cornerback that I can't? Byron Jones.
Yeah.
You can't sign all of them. And if you do, you can't sign all of them to top-tier contracts. And if you do, you are totally putting yourself in a salary cap hell, which, by the way, you put yourself in by sitting on your hands. Because say what you want about the Carson Wentz contract. Should they have signed them? Should they not have signed them? Should they have waited to see if he can stay healthy? Shouldn't they, or should they just do it right now? If the one piece of credit you got to give them is that they stayed ahead of it. They stayed ahead of it so they don't have to worry about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got to set the market when you can.
Yes.
I
because the market will set you.
But then also not knowing the trends of how players, like Le'Veon Bell set the trend. He's like, yo, I'll sit out a year. So now Melvin Gordon's like, I'll sit out a year. I'll sit out a year. Like now it's the players. If you have leverage, you use it when you can. If you're not good enough, then you can't ever use that leverage. So I think I'm all for players getting their money, but I think those players are smart right now.
Those players are smart. The Cowboys are not. They're letting the market dictate their price. Mm-hmm. The best thing the Eagles could have done to screw the Cowboys was sign Carson Wentz to that contract and stay ahead of it. Because you look at Amari Cooper right now. Michael Thomas gets signed, making the most of any wide receivers made in NFL history. Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper's looking at that one going, but him. And you wait, Julio Jones might get a new contract. And he's going to set the market again. And the Cowboys are still going to be sitting on their hands.
Yeah, and Amari Cooper's got the ammo to say, look, I turned this team around as soon as I got on the roster. So he's got pull for his own money.
I'm Jerry Jones.
Meanwhile.
And I'm going to offer all those people top 5 contracts. They ain't that good. I don't need Zeke to win a championship. I don't need Dakota Rain Prescott. I don't need Jalen Smith. I don't need Amari Cooper, even though I traded a first-round pick for him. I'm Jerry Jones. Setting themselves up for failure.
It's a whole lot of money, too, man, to spend between, 3 players.
Yeah.
To lock all those guys up. That's a lot of money.
Meanwhile, you take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles locker room. Let's think back. They went into this offseason, correct me if I'm wrong, in the second-worst salary cap situation going into the offseason.
Correct.
Behind only the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what did they do? Howie and Jeffrey walked around the locker room and said, Lane, can you help us out? Said Jason, can you help us out? Said you, can you help us out? And all these guys restructured the contract for the better good of the team. Meanwhile, you got the Dallas Cowboys. You star running backs in Cabo. Dak Prescott wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL. Or the highest paid player. By proxy, you're the quarterback. You're the highest paid player. The misery of Cowboys fans is a delicacy to me. It is delicious.
100%.
And it's just going to continue into the preseason, into the regular season. And Cowboys fans, you wait, you watch, you made your bed, you're going to have to lie in it.
Jason Garrett said himself that they're far away from where he wants to be.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Hey, man, we got any, before we get on out of here, we got any Twitter questions to go through?
Yeah, we do. From Maiden Delco wants to know. That's
a great name.
Yes. This is a common question among people that come up in this area. But what is your guys' take on the Cowboys, Yankees, Flyers, Lakers, Duke, Blue Devils fan that exists among us?
Do they actually exist?
Oh, they exist. This guy had a sticker.
Whoa, what is this?
Yeah, this is the stickers on the back of his car. It's got Cowboys, Tiger Woods, Yankees, Flyers, Lakers, and the Duke Blue Devils.
That guy wasn't raised right.
No. This is a sickness. First of all, take the Flyers logo off of there. The
Right.
Flyers logo should not be associated with those other teams. Second of all,
Is that cherry picking or what?
this right here, and we're gonna have to save this picture because we gotta tweet it out.
I think we have a Duke fan in here, though.
No. We got to tweet this out because this is evidence right here of a larger problem. This is a mental issue, a mental health issue. Because when you're a Cowboys, a Tiger Woods, a Yankees, a Lakers, and a Duke fan, you have zero loyalty.
Yeah.
Your father either didn't hug you enough as a child, your mother didn't tell you she loved you, and you can't handle the thought of losing. There's people out there, we've all seen it. We've all seen, but this is like the most blatant example of it. We've all seen it. The bumper stickers of a Yankees and a Cowboys fan. Why would you advertise the fact that you, like the Bagel Boss, have little man syndrome? Because you don't want to lose. You can't handle you would trade your loyalty in of your home city. You would trade your loyalty in just to say, well, I won championships and stuff like that.
You know what's funny?
That's a sickness.
I had a grown man in his 40s. I tried to get the rationale of why he's a Cowboys fan that was raised in this area. I'm like, well, what exactly is the reason that you grew up a Cowboys fan? You want to know what it was?
What?
His parents painted his room blue when he was younger.
They always got some stupid excuse,
During
right?
the 90s.
Well, my dad, when I was a kid.
So for that, you latch on to the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, they were the only ones on TV, and then my dad was a Yankees fan, and then, like my uncle, like twice removed, he went to Duke, so I'm a Duke fan. It is seriously a mental sickness. Do you know anybody like that?
I know.
Would you associate with anybody?
I know some people that are Cowboy fans, Laker fans, Yankee fans. That's usually the trifecta.
Yeah. The Yankee, Laker fan, Cowboy fan is
It's pathetic.
It's something that exists way more often than it should.
Weak sauce.
Considering you got 3 different parts of the country going on there.
Makes me sick to my stomach. We need to cleanse the palate here of all that filth that I saw on that car. And we'll tweet that picture out. Because we've all seen them. I haven't seen that blatant of an example, but we've all seen them. They do exist. They need to be eradicated.
Yeah, we touched on most of the other Twitter questions that are going on here between the offensive line and the secondary.
All right, sounds good. Then we are a wrap here. Once again, as always, I want to remind you that the 4th and Jawn squad will be traveling with the Green Legion. All right, mainly Atlanta, Buffalo. So if you want to come party with the Green Legion, party with 4th and Jawn, make sure that you use code Jawn at checkout. They're going to put you in our section. They might even put you in our row. So make sure you check out the Green Legion's website. And Piccolo, cannot thank you enough for the intro. That was absolute fire. Make sure you cop his album, The Cookout, and his debut album, Bacon, Egg, and Grits. And until next time, let's go Birds, and we will see you right here on 4th and Jawn next week. We out!